A man becomes wise when he learns to filter the signal from the noise, discern the truth from the lies, and sift the diamond from the dirt. My friends, every day, that is what we learn to do. 10 to 15 minutes, that is all we ask. We follow price movement. We don't care what they say on the news. We care what the price is doing. We use historic patterns to help us portend the future. Let's jump into these charts. We see stocks are down, bonds and gold up, Bitcoin down. Looks like we're getting close. I don't know that it's going to happen this week, but on the S&P 500, you can see where things are backing off a little bit. Can't tell yet whether it's going to cross or not. We sent out a text message to everybody to be watching for it. Same on the NASDAQ 100, not quite crossing. We'll see if that happens, unless it is a huge down day tomorrow. Looks like Bitcoin probably will have a weekly vertical crossover. If you're not signed up for our texting service, follow the link in the show notes. When there is a weekly vertical crossover, we give you a heads up. Patreon members, we sent out to you today 20 weekly vertical crossovers as we do each and every Thursday. 15 up, 5 down. Sort through those, find a couple to practice trade, see how you do. It is great to practice that every single week. If you're not a Patreon member and you want to have 20 weekly vertical crossovers a week, and you want to have our Charting Crypto podcast early on Wednesdays every week, then go sign up for as little as $30 a month, and it lets you sponsor the free work that we do here each and every day, teaching you guys how to practice trade so that eventually you'll be out there on your own with skills that will be worth every minute of time you spend, and we don't ask for a lot. Now, let's jump into these charts. S&P 500 down 1.44% for the day. Nonetheless, nice green up candle for the week. As I said earlier, price percent oscillator heading up. Derivative oscillators disappeared. It is literally just right on the line. We'll see as we jump into Friday what happens. Pay attention toward the end of the day. See if there is a weekly vertical crossover. We can see where things have really slowed down on Thursday as far as nice, big, strong green up candles, and then pushed right through today. And this first day, it isn't a drawn candle yet. It is drawing. Remember, you never count a candle till it's drawn. That's why we say weekly vertical crossover setting up potentially doesn't occur until the end of the market. Now, we're happy to look at good reasons to jump in right before that happens, right before 4 p.m. on a Friday. That's the way you practice those weekly vertical crossovers on your practice trades. What do we see happening here, though, on the 2-day? Little red spinning top, not a doji, but close. It's an open box red spinning top. So a big slowdown in the up movement. Price percent oscillator likewise has gone from a steep up angle. That's whittling off a little bit. Derivative oscillator also losing momentum. And of course, what did we see happen at the end of the day? We, of course, see a crossover going down on the weakest of all our charts. That would be the half-day chart, but we'll go ahead and note that. Derivative oscillator also flipped over to negative, so we'll note that. And again, part of that is preventing us from that weekly vertical crossover, unless it's a big up day on Friday. Same with the Qs. 2 weeks of nice strong up movement, but just petering off. Now the derivative oscillator has gone full green, and the derivative oscillator's close, but no cigar, hasn't crossed over. And we'll go to the 2-day, take a look at that. Not quite as much of a pullback there. It was down 1.28%. Not a spinning top, and it's just right there on the trend line, so not as weak. You can see that also in the price percent oscillator and the derivative oscillator. Look at the half day, and we did have a crossover, so we will redraw that line. Those of you ask, what chart is this guy using? I'm using TC2000, and it's that easy to draw things like trend lines right on the screen. Derivative oscillator's gone negative also, so keep an eye on the S&P and the NASDAQ 100 on Friday. See if you have a weekly vertical crossover. there'll be a sea change if indeed that does occur. Those usually portend nice up moves or down moves for a while. We'll see if indeed that occurs. Now let's move on to bonds. Bonds up for the day 0.24%, a quarter of a percent. See where bonds had been hammering down, particularly for the prior 2 weeks, really strongly. This week, backing off some. Solid green down candle means a slowdown in the down movement. Price percent oscillator slacking off in that down movement too, as did the derivative oscillator 2-day chart. Going into the second green open box candle, price percent oscillator poised to cross over, but hasn't yet. Derivative oscillator still a bit negative, so we'll wait, watch, and see. That would, of course, take us out of any down move. That would not be a 2-day recross, but a 2-day crossover in the opposite direction. So we'll keep an eye on things, see how that shapes up. What do we see on the half-day chart? We see things just continuing to move up 1 day, 2 day, 3 days. And again, price percent oscillator and derivative oscillator heading up. See if that continues or if things launch back over going down. Let's take a look at gold. Up just a little bit for the day, 0.06%. What do we see for the week? Well, we see a red down candle with a long wick on the bottom where it's lost some of that prior down movement. Price percent oscillator is a little less than flat, still positive. Derivative oscillator heading down, but still positive. We go to the 2-day, and of course, we can see first day of this latest 2-day candle. A little light, a little pop-up pushing through that 2-day trend line, but the price percent oscillator still heading down. Derivative oscillator still quite negative. We look at the half day, and it just barely at the end of the day managed to cross over. So hopefully we'll see some of that continue. I am, of course, waiting for what? I'd love to see this 2-day do a recross going back up, but doesn't look like that's going to happen this week. So we still have the 2-day heading down, the weekly heading up, and because of that schizophrenia, means we don't have a trade in gold at this time. Of course, we had that beautiful week where gold popped up. I made a nice trade during that time period. Missed out on the whole of the high, but I did all right there. And we'll just see how things continue to go in gold. Now, the biggest news for the week, even though we see Bitcoin down for the day, is the real potential for a weekly vertical crossover going up on Bitcoin. We've been waiting for this for a long, long time, since that weekly vertical crossover going down all the way back in late November. And we had things just move down, 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 down. It was sideways for a little bit there, late in the year, early in the year. Late in the year, both. Let's see, that's the 23rd and the 31st. So, and then, of course, what happened as the new year started, down 4 more weeks. And then since then, sliding sideways, bumping up and bumping down and sideways. Last 2 weeks, things moving up quite strongly. That is beautiful to see. Now, depending on where you look, we see the New York Stock Exchange Bitcoin Index down 1.39%. They only report limited during the day. Grayscale Bitcoin down 4.75% for the day. We look at the Bitcoin futures, 3.19 for BITO, 3.28 for BTF, and my favorite, because it has the lowest fees, XBTF, that is the VanEck Bitcoin Strategy ETF, 3.20. You might say, Tom, why don't you trade Bitcoin at a Bitcoin exchange? Well, first off, my charts work on XBTF, and the other thing is, I like an ETF. Yes, it's a futures ETF. It doesn't track perfectly what's happening with Bitcoin on these various exchanges, but I also don't have the fees. When I buy and sell, yes, it does have management fees, but when I buy and sell my Bitcoin, the various brokerages that I go through don't charge me anything for that. So practice trade, see how it goes for you. Of course, for as little as $14, what is $18 a share, you can fractional trade. You can fractional trade, $100 or less, and see what kind of percentage you can make on this if you're learning how to do it. Don't go out there, whatever, and spend any amounts of money when you don't know what you're doing. It's like you literally are gambling, and the house is going to win. So we're an education firm, not a Bitcoin calling service, not a stock calling service, not a bond calling service or gold calling service. We want you to practice trade with us and learn what is going on before you start firing off money, because losses will kill you, profits will make you happy. Now, we do see this shaping up, price percent oscillator gaining upward momentum, derivative oscillator gaining upward momentum, 2-day chart. We can see where things have slowed down markedly the first day of this latest 2-day candle with these big down moves in Bitcoin. So we'll see what happens on Friday. It could pull back through. There is some caution warned. And of course, we can see where things topped. And let's try XBTF. There you go. You can see where things really, you had some struggling in the morning, and then a little further down in the afternoon, crossing over, going down on that half-day chart. So there's a little trepidation with Friday coming up. Pay attention. Look at what's going on. Again, make the right decisions for a practice trade if you do get in. And by all means, friends, fill out your trade worksheet. It is the best thing you can do to learn the most with your training. Why is that? Because the trade worksheet helps you see the decision-making processes you made throughout the course of the trade and learn from what you did. It helps you learn those nuances. It helps you document those so you can use them in the future. It becomes your trader's almanac. Now, I'm going to put at the end of this training the training we have on how to use the trade worksheet. Plus, there's a link every day in the show notes to the trade worksheet. If you're not a subscriber, go ahead and subscribe. Get all those good trainings that we put out each and every day. This one I'm going to put at the end of today's training. For subscribers, we also have an additional training. It is backtracking, using stock charts to find trading patterns. Man, it's one of the best trainings that I did in the past. I really want you to pay attention to that. That is where we are, folks. We always appreciate you being with us. We always love to hear from you. You can write us cw@chartingwealth.com. God bless, my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.